Chapter 21. I looked up at the hot topic news on television. A shrill wail of the theft alarm we triggered in the quiet countryside led to the curious local folks in the area to see what it was. By the afternoon, Pert's body was found. Bun used the stranger's curiosity to indirectly call the police. An unexpected strategy. I had to give him that one. Bun said that we had to start all over again. We needed to call off his previous plan. He needed some time to mull over it. Right at this moment, Bun was staying at my house, and because his fever had returned, he ordered me to buy antibiotics at the drugstore after my class had ended. Despite how much I was worried about him, I had to act as if nothing had happened. I had to come to class and pretend I had nothing to do with what happened today. I'm going home, Teacher Tan. The same girl, the last student who left my school, stood up, bidding me farewell in Thai style, and ran out of the classroom. I accepted her gesture and turned to the news. Still, it went on and on about the death of Pert, the prosecutor. And then I saw a man appeared on the television. A man who always made me terrified every time I saw him. Paul. I don't think it was suicide, but we have to wait for the autopsy report regardless, Paul told the reporters. I could see a rueful look on his face. You might need to ask the police for other details. All I know is that my brother is dead. Then he quickly slipped away from the interview. I fished out my phone. Since Paul knew that Pert had died, he made no attempt to contact me. I was wondering why he hadn't done so. Paul should have called to inform me about the news, at least because he was probably the first person on the list of relatives that the police contacted to report about his brother's unnatural death in an abandoned warehouse. I didn't know if this was something I should consider, but I was thinking that it might be Paul who did it. Why, you may ask? Paul loved Pert very much, just like any other siblings who shared a womb would have. If Paul wanted to kill Pert, it probably happened because Pert tried to do something to Paul, but ended up being killed instead. The shrill ring of my cell phone pulled me out of my thoughts. I pulled out my phone and saw an unfamiliar number. I stared at it with deliberation for a moment before taking the call. Hello? Hi, is this Teacher Tan? A baritone voice at the end of the line inquired. I was wondering who this was, but he quickly relieved my doubt. It's me, Boonlert, Bun's brother. Right, yes, Dr. Boonlert. I tried to put on my cordial tone of voice. It occurred to me that I had given him my number. How may I help you? You already know that I'm a doctor? Boonlert's remark halted me in my track. He had never told me that he was a doctor. I unintentionally said what I knew without thinking carefully. Oh, I took the liberty of Googling your name. I cleared my throat a little. By the way, is everything all right? You already saw what happened to the prosecutor, right? The one who disappeared and has been found dead? I could detect the emotional quiver in his tone of voice. Maybe that's also happened to Bun, but no one knows yet. Perhaps not. Dr. Bun may still be alive and hiding somewhere. Pert wouldn't be an issue anymore, but I remembered that Bun had mentioned that he might tell Boonlert the truth as I had once proposed. Boonlert was about to say something, but I beat him to it. Doctor? Yes. Where are you right now? The voice at the end of the line went silent for a few seconds, as if he was startled by my question. At the hotel. Are you doing anything right now? I'm going to take you somewhere. Where are you taking me? I had the feeling that if I told him Bun was with me, Dr. Boonlert, who still didn't trust me, may bring the police with him on this trip. Where should I pick you up? Wait, I didn't say anything yet. Talking to Dr. Boonlert made me feel like I was talking to Bun. I knew how to deal with people like him. I had to make him feel like he was in control of the situation. Then, how about you take your car and meet me? I'll send you the location. I'd like you to meet someone who should be able to help you find Dr. Bun. Who do you mean? And how can that person help me find Bun better than the police? Dr. Boonlord still didn't take the bait that easily. The police here suck at their job. You can't expect much from them, really. I took a deep breath. Come, I'll wait. I sent the location of my 2-story house in downtown to Dr. Boonlord. The house was built in one of the most crowded areas in the province. Although it was quieter at night than the city of large provinces, having a market nearby, the roads shone with bright lights, and the vehicles occasionally passed by were enough to ease Dr. Boonlord's fear in order to come here. When I arrived, I found a car in front of the gate. If I remember correctly, this was Dr. Boonlord's rental car. I rarely looked around the vicinity. Nothing seemed unusual. Dr. Boonlord should be the only one here. I stepped down from my car at the same time Dr. Boonlord opened his car door. He eyed me with a suspicious look. Whose house is this? It's mine. Dr. Boonlord raised his eyebrows. Why do I get the feeling that you're luring me to do something dirty? I shook my head. I would have laughed at such a statement in normal circumstances. Come on in. Why do I need to? And who's the person you said could help me find Bun? Boonlord still rooted to the same spot. I decided to walk to him with a quick gait, and he stepped back slightly. I grabbed his arm before he could run away. Dr. Bun is safe. He's in the house, actually. I lowered my head and whispered near his ear. First, I'd like to ask if you brought the police here with you, because no one, not even the police, can know that Bun is safe. If they know, the person who wants to kill Bun will know that he's still alive. Boonlord widened his eyes and turned to me, his eyes full of questions. What? Have you told the police that you'll meet me here? Is anyone following you? Can you tell them to leave if that's the case? Dr. Boonlord looked surprisingly calm. I want to see Bun first. I knew you must have brought someone with you. I sighed. Bun should explain everything to you, and you'll understand why I don't want the police involved. Boonlord looked at me as if he was pondering hard before speaking softly. If I don't see Bun in there, you'll be in a lot of trouble, Teacher Tan. I led Dr. Boonlord into the house, which was completely dark with no single lights on. Boonlord looked around wearily. In this kind of atmosphere, he wouldn't believe that someone was living in the house. This was Bun's strategy. If I wasn't home, no light would be turned on in this house. I reached out to flicker on the light, revealing the spacious living room before us. Who's the person you brought here with you? Dr. Boonlord looked at me calmly. I'm not telling you anything until I see Bun. And if you're setting me up, I'll call my men in immediately. I sighed, leading Boonlord to the stairs. You know, there aren't many reasons why I bring someone home. And what should those be? Dr. Boonlord eyed me warily. One of those reasons is that sometimes I bring men I like here to have sex. I thought my answer must have been quite a shock for him. So, to cover the fact that I brought you here to see Bun, can you please use this excuse to tell the person who accompanied you today? Tell him I liked you, so I invited you to come and offer my help to find Bun to impress you. Wait, I don't... Dr. Boonlord began to stutter. I know you're not gay, but I need to come up with something plausible so that no one would suspect why I brought you here all of a sudden, given that we barely know each other. That seemed to add even more distrust in his demeanor. I escorted Dr. Boonlord up the stairs and led him to the door. I reached out to knock the sealed shut door. Bun, it's me. Then I twisted the knob to open it. Bun didn't lock the door because he knew that I already had the key. The first thing I saw after turning on the lights was Bun standing beside the bed. He was holding the gun in his right hand firmly and turned to look at us nervously. Then his eyes immediately drifted to the newcomer. The brothers were so stunned that they both were speechless for a moment. Bun. Eventually, Dr. Boonlord decided to break that silence. He walked straight to Bun, raising his hands to his brother's shoulders and pulled him into a tight embrace. I thought you were dead. Boon, Bun murmured in a raspy voice. He put the gun in his pocket, lifting his hands to return the embrace. I could see Bun's emotional countenance. He appeared as though he wanted to cry. I heard two people walking toward her, so I took out the gun. Nobody. It's just me. And who are you burning up? Do you have a fever? I thought it was the common cold, but my fever's high. My throat severely hurts, and I took a look with a flashlight. There's exudates in my throat. I already told Tan to get me amoxy. You're always like this when the weather's cold. Boonlert reached out to ruffle Bun's hair. Bun buried his face in his brother's shoulder. The two of them held on to each other for a long time. I stood there, watching. I couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. This is what it was like, true form of love between siblings. Something I had never gotten from my brothers, not even once. Eventually, Boonlert pushed his brother from him. Are you all right? Are you hurt? What exactly is going on here? Why are you with him? Which question should I answer first? Bun let out a small smile at the torrent of questions from Boonlert. Answer me everything. Everything. Boonlert raised his hand to stroke Bun's hair. Let's go home together, yeah? You don't need to work away from home anymore. I'll talk to Professor Youngyut about accepting you as a professor at the faculty. No, he can't go. Not now. It's very dangerous. I shouted. You still don't know what's going on. Boonlert turned to look at me, who was leaning against the doorframe. He seemed to come to some sort of conclusion by himself. What are your relationships with each other? I don't know what he thinks about me, but I'll protect him for the rest of my life. I replied straightforwardly, without a hint of bashfulness. I saw Bun pinch the bridge of his nose, shaking his head slightly. Boonlert silently fixed me with his eyes under his black framed glasses. I thought he already knew about his brother's sexuality. His boyfriend? Yes, I love Bun. Boon. Bun hurriedly called his brother, looking at me awkwardly. I didn't know if it's just me or Bun's face seemed to be redder than usual. He might be angry or embarrassed. I wasn't quite sure. I wanted to tell Bun that he looked adorable right now, but I didn't think that would be proper. Tan is the one who keeps me alive. Boonlert arched his eyebrows. How? Before I explain the whole situation, Dr. Boonlert, I blurted out before the man forgot our deal. Do not forget to call off the person you brought here with you, 'cause after this, we're gonna have a long and seemingly suspicious talk. Bun turned to look at Dr. Boonlert with his eyes full of questions. Dr. Boonlert pressed his lips together for a moment before pulling out his cell phone and calling someone. Hello? Nothing happened. Boonlert whispered into the phone. Did you know that Tan is gay? He lured me here and hoped to impress me by offering to help me find Bunnigat. Lies rolled out of Dr. Boonlert's tongue effortlessly. He did it better than I'd thought. Boone looked at me, and I saw his brows tied in a tight knot on his face. He looked unhappy with this, but after just a moment, his expression swiftly morphed back to normal. I've got nothing, obviously. I'll head back after a while. No, you guys go on ahead. I think it's strange because the news mentioned that Tan was the girl's boyfriend, but then he turned out to be gay. He doesn't look that dangerous though. I'll call you if I need anything. Yes, thank you. Dr. Boonlert pressed to end his call. I've told the cops to go back. I was shocked to learn who he brought with him. What's the meaning of this, Boone? Bun looked very puzzled. I brought the cops here with me, 'cause I didn't know what would have happened. Boonlert walked back to Bun and pulled him down to sit on the bed beside him. The look Dr. Boonlert gave Bun was full of concern, but then the warm gaze suddenly vanished when he turned to me. Boonlert spoke to me with resolute voice. Explain. Midnight arrived, and the temperature outside was dropping that Boonlert, the medical professor who was born and raised in Bangkok's warm weather, needed to pull his jacket tighter around himself. I walked Dr. Boonlert to his car. looking around wearily. The road in the middle of the night was awfully quiet. Only the ruckus of the drunkards could be heard from the karaoke bar nearby. "This is a rental car, right?" I patted the hood of his car gently. "Yes." Dr. Boonlord unlocked the door with the remote. "I'll return the car tomorrow morning, so please come and drop me off at the bus station, as we have discussed. I'm thinking of dropping you off at the airport. It's just a few hours' drive across the province." I stood looking at Dr. Boonlord, whose eyes were dull. "I want to see you off. Want to make sure you're safely aboard a flight to Bangkok." "If you don't mind, then so be it." Dr. Boonlord sighed, opened the door, and slid into the driver's seat. I approached the door. "Tan?" "Yeah?" I bowed down to listen to him. Without any warning, Dr. Boonlord fisted my collar and pulled me down. The man whispered in my ear, "Look, I don't know if the police are still around, or if someone is watching us right now, but this is what I wanted to say." Boonlord took a deep breath. "Because I saw how much Bun trusted you. I trust his life with you. You have to bring him home, understood?" "Understood." I confirmed the order, which was something I had always been good at. Dr. Boonlord nodded before releasing my collar, closing the door, and driving away from the front of my house. I watched the car until it rounded the corner and vanished from my sight. Convincing him to go back wasn't an easy task. After he learned about the whole ordeal, Boonlord insisted on staying to help, until Bun spoke up. "Boon, listen to me," Bun said. His voice was one of a placid tone, as if he knew exactly how to handle his brother. Intellectual folks like them ought to engage in rational discussion with the least emotion involved. "I know you're worried about me, but this is simply too dangerous for you. I cannot throw your life away here. Don't forget that you're the breadwinner of the family. You have Pa, Ma, May, and Baitui. What if you die because of me? What would your family, your wife and child, do without you?" Dr. Boonlord went silent, dumbfounded. Boon took this opportunity to go on. "Tan will help me while I'm here." Boon pressed his lips in a thin line. He was silent for a long time before uttering, "I'll go. But only if you promise me that once this is over, you'll return to Bangkok and stay there." I turned on my heels and walked into the house, thinking of the promise Dr. Boonlord forced upon Bun to uphold, the promise about returning to Bangkok. Bun agreed to his terms, hoping that Boonlord would leave for now. I didn't want Bun to leave. I thought about following Bun to Bangkok. But why would I do that when the reason I transferred to finish my study in the north was to take care of my sick mother? It was true that my mom was in good health at the moment. However, should an emergency arise, will I get back here in time? Honestly, this stressful matter had been eating me up. What should I do? The only thing I could do tonight was to go upstairs and draw Bun into my tight embrace, making this moment worthwhile. Bun's safety should be my priority at the moment. What Dr. Boonlord had said was something in the future. "He'll let you drive him?" Bun turned to me while he was washing the pan. Today he came downstairs to make me a pan of delicious smell fried rice. I had to admit that Bun was a sick guy who didn't act like one at all. I wanted to take this opportunity to take care of him, clean him up, and feed him, just like what they did on one of those television dramas. However, Bun did everything himself, and even cooked for me. "Yes, I'll meet him at 10. I should be back around 1 p.m. I fished out my mobile phone to look at the time. Bun, I was wondering, how old is your brother?" Bun walked back to sit at the dining table. "He's 36 this year." I almost choked on my rice. "Are you kidding me?" "Why? Does he look younger or older than that?" Bun put a spoonful of rice in his mouth. "He looks very young. I thought he was like a couple of years older than you." "And he's also a straight man with a wife and a kid." I let a small smile slip out, looking at Bun, who was digging in his food, completely ignoring me. "Are you telling me to stay away from Dr. Boonlord?" Bun lifted his head to rest his gaze on me. You're imagining things. Just saying, that's all. I won't go near him. If I'm gonna hit on someone, I'll do it one at a time. I reached out to wipe the grain of rice stuck on the corner of his mouth, making him pause. I can do it myself. Bun quickly pulled the napkin up to wipe his own mouth. I couldn't tell if Bun was embarrassed at the moment, as Bun was good at hiding his true feelings. I wanted to make him blush openly, but I guessed I had to keep trying. What I could catch, though, was that Bun would always change the subject whenever I threw him that kind of teasing. Have Paul contacted you yet? There, changing the subject again. No, he hasn't. I've called him, but he doesn't answer. I'm pretty scared he might end up being another body. Bun chuckled. Wouldn't that be great? He might be a little hard to get on the phone. I guess Paul is busy with the funeral. Anyway, who's going to do Pert's autopsy now, since you're already gone? He should be sent to the hospital in the nearby province. Bun coughed a little. I looked at him with a hint of concern in my eyes. It must be some kind of poison. I guess it was cyanide. I'd really like to call my fellow forensic physician there and ask. You can give me his number. I'll call him for you. No, it would be too weird that some random guy would call and ask about the autopsy result. Bun sighed. You would have done this to Pert anyway. It has to be Paul, I'm sure as hell. I pounded my fist on the table lightly. Pert must have gone to Paul and probably tried to expose his order to kill you, and then Paul must have killed Pert to shut him up. Bun furrowed his brows. If that's the case, then why did he have to kill Pert? Paul could have blackmailed him with the threat of exposing him about Jane. You're right. I started to feel a headache creep in. But you don't understand their supreme level of bipolar. Anything's possible. What do we do now? I can't think of anything except killing Paul. Bun's gaze wandered out of the window. I've never killed anyone, but this time I think I can do it, I said without any hesitation. An expression of shock appeared on Bun's face. How are you going to do that? If you were caught, it means a one-way ticket to prison. Don't get caught then. I reached out to hold his hand. Unknown cause of death, undetectable cause, something you can't prove. Those sort of things, the person who should know it best and is the right person for the job should have been the forensic physician of all people, don't you think?